Greetings and salutations. It's Monday, September the 27th, 2021. Welcome to Canucks with the Guitars, your live Q&A guitar podcast, live stream show. Too good for television. That's right, but we're still prime time. Fucking right. Oops. Oh, no, we're a minute 16 in. Perfect. All right, we can swear. I'm Ben. This is Terry. That's Tom. Literally, I went bap, 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 which was take down Zach's message, add Tom to the show, and we're live. It was like boom, boom, and there we are. It was literally Tom came in with a second to spare. It was awesome. So welcome one, welcome all. I'm going to do roll call right now because I'm already at the top of the chat. Going back at 7:29 p.m., we have Zach Thong in the chat. We've got Paul McNary, GAP Page 2, Symmetry, Martin Lemaire, I Rock Zed Blues, Jay Steen in the house catching us live. Awesome. Down and Back with Corn Dog. By the way, Tom, you have to watch the 2-year anniversary episode coming up of Down and Back with Corn Dog.
Nice.
I'm not saying it's the return of the snowdrift, but hey. Just, I'm not saying, but I might be saying. Hip Metalworks in here. Paul Leonard Ewing in the house. Absolute mayhem. Whoops. 6-string theory via 2 notes. That's a long name, but that's awesome. Welcome to the channel, my friend. Thomas Santiago is here. Thomas Santiago is here. Dan of New Jersey, the other left. I've never met the first left, but that's the other left. Oh, the other left, right.
The other left.
Host of Twang, Magic Man, Billy Baloney, Janice Lala, Keith H. Nice. Charlemagne Taylor, hello from the UK.
Oh, nice. Welcome.
Simon, the Hoss, the Hoss, the Hoss, the Hoss. Yeah, I've been partaking off air a lot.
That reminds me now after seeing Simon Hosford. Do you have something in place with HOSA? That would be kind of interesting.
Oh, like the cables.
Yeah, the cable company HOSA.
Hey, Andrew made it. The British Electric Blues and 5150 show.
Hey, welcome. Nice to see you.
Hands down my favorite Kiwi. Check it out, folks. Check out that show, that channel. There's a variety of shows on the channel, all awesome. They just did a ranking the tracks on Zeppelin 4. I don't know. What do you do? They're all tied for number 1? Sure. Nice. Jimi Hendrix left.
From work.
That's possible. We don't talk about the other
Simon, I like Simon's response.
I wish I could sing like Ralph.
No, I don't. Good fit, though.
Jamal's here. Guitar Man Jamal's here. All right.
This might be the first time ever I'm not yawning because I'm tired. I'm literally yawning because I literally woke up about 7 minutes ago.
Nice. Kurt 5150's here. Well, I remember doing a recording session. I was engineering it, Tom, and we woke up the drummer to lay down a track.
Nice.
He was out cold because he worked nights. He was out cold. Like, he wasn't napping. He was sleeping. Sad to say, Tom, we had to use his second take.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Second take. Wow.
Yeah. And then we flipped over to the other song, and he first taked it. And then guess what? He went back to bed. It was like literally like the dude on the couch in Half Baked.
I literally, like, I'm not kidding, probably about 10 minutes ago, like, I had slept through my 6:30 p.m. alarm and went, guess I need that extra sleep after work today.
Nice. Hey, Fret Love Midnight. Wait, what? Wait, oh, well, yeah, that's not a valid reason for being 5 minutes late. A little late because I had to change to my new Magenta Flake limited edition Kramer Pacer. That is awesome.
Oh, wow. Now I see it. I moved my chat. Now I see it.
That's badass. Vince RJ's here. Tim Thomas is here. Nice. Magic Man just woke up from a nap. Perfect.
I like anything with a flake finish.
All right, so folks, yes, if you have any questions, we have the answers. It is a live Q&A show. Some topical stuff that we wanted to bring up. This coming Sunday on Pete Thorne's YouTube channel, starring Pete Thorne on Pete Thorne Live, he will have special guest Canadian music legend Kim Mitchell on.
Pretty cool.
It's going to be awesome. So brush up on your Kim Mitchell, folks. Tune in. It's going to be awesome.
Very cool.
Why is Ben so hot? You need to clean your screen, Andrew. You need to clean your screen. Clearly. Charlie,
where are you working? Is the better question.
So, yeah, I wanted to mention that. And then also, yes. Hey, Milt.
Hey, Mel, what's up?
Um,
Yes, we do front level midnight. We do need the Killer Dwarves on the stream one day. Yes, correct.
I was going to mention in regard to the Kim Mitchell thing, it's like I said, I wasn't a big fan of... At points in times, I'm a hot and cold thing with Kim Mitchell, but as of late, I must say that I would be excited to see that Kim Mitchell interview with Pete Thorne.
I think so too. I'll see. I was just thinking, Daryl Miller from the Killer Dwarves, their drummer, has a new book out, so I might be able to get him on. I might.
That's cool.
Because I know he just did a recent podcast that's much bigger show than this, so we'll see. We'll see. I shall try.
Ben,
let's see here. T. Ricky says, "Good evening, everyone. Great to see T. Ricky in here. Why are Gibson acoustic guitars $5,000 plus?"
Well, obviously the obvious question or the obvious response is the name on the headstock for one.
That's the big reason. Yeah, because if unless a Martin is going for selling even $5,000, it's I don't know. It's sort of like a Telly and a Les Paul, like a Martin D28 and a Gibson Hummingbird. They're both those guitars, or D28, D45 even, but D28 more. Those two guitars are all on a lot of albums. Hummingbird, J45, whatever. But
yeah.
Gibson acoustic versus a Martin. I don't know. I don't know why they're so expensive, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Again,
I know I do play.
reputation.
I play a Gibson acoustic at every NAMM show I go to. I rarely play a Gibson electric because you got to go and plug them in and stuff. But I just want to strum a few chords like of Angie or something like that. And I'm like, yep, there it is. That's the sound. And that's what I do. Dirty Weapons is a great track, by the way, Fretlove Midnight.
Andrew said, "Why does my $800 Les Paul copy sound just as good as my $4,500?"
Because it's all in your hands, Andrew. It's all in your hands.
There you go.
What's up, Max?
Did I get ripped off?
Hey, Max.
No, you underpaid on the copy. See what I did there? Yeah.
Janice wants to know who's, excuse me.
Who's Kim Mitchell?
Yes, thank you.
So Kim Mitchell started out with the band Max Webster, who I believe originally out of Sarnia before relocating to Toronto. Sarnia is northeast of Detroit.
It sounds like a magical place.
It's not. It's an oil town.
Narnia, but
Sarnia is down near Glen Fricker territory.
Yeah, it's northeast of Glen in Detroit. Hey, Doug. We'll get you to that. So, Max Webster had a slew of hits. Million Vacations. There was the song Battle Scar that they did with Rush. Both bands playing at the same time. Awesome. Diamonds was another song. Toronto Tontos. That's weird. That's almost Beefheart, Frank Zappa type stuff. What's up, Dave Ennis? Great to see you here, my friend.
Hey, Dave.
And then he went solo in the early 80s. Flash forward a bit. He went hell of a virtuoso player. Went solo in his first hit, which was a damn big hit because it broke south of the border as well. Because I think Mad picked it up, was his song "Go for a Soda."
Yep.
And the whole thing was go for a soda, it's better to arrive alive type thing. And
hey, Max Joseph.
And then after that, he had a slew of hits, which I don't know as many broke in the U.S., but like Patio Lanterns, Easy to Tame, All We Are. Oh, All We Are. Great ballad with Fournette. Mark Fournette was his bass player / keyboard player. I want to say, Terry. He did all the high parts. That's what a lot of times you're like, wow, Kim's really singing that part. No, that was actually.
No, I've heard him that one time in Barrie when he performed on New Year's Eve, and I heard him sing. Yeah, he can't do high notes.
Oh.
He
First
tried.
time I saw Max Webster perform was on the TV show that was also syndicated in the U.S. You can't do that on television.
Oh, I used to watch that every day after school.
The early iteration of the show, they had live bands for some reason. It was like Max Webster, possibly Rush.
Alanis Morissette.
Yeah. It was before Alanis was on it. So
yeah.
Peter Fredette. Thank you, Hit Metalworks.
Yeah, she was later on. Yep.
Yeah, before Alanis went grunge.
Before she had Taylor Hawkins play.
Excuse me when she came out as an artist, because I go, isn't that the young girl I used to watch on? You can't do that on television. That was my favorite show, though. I used to watch that. It came out in the States. It came on Nickelodeon, and I used to watch it every day before and after school, like just to watch people get slimed on when you're like 7 or 8 years old. That's the best.
Yeah, two things you didn't say on that show: water and I don't know.
Yep, exactly.
I just got to interject here. Billy Baloney makes a great response to why does the Gibson Acoustics cost $5,000? As he says, they cost so much because Mark Agnesi has expensive taste in leather jackets.
Yeah, Mark and I have the same taste in leather jackets, sadly.
Okay.
Although I don't know. I've been wearing mine since the 90s, so maybe, yeah, I think so. I wish I could show you a picture of my J45 that was painted, chipped, and neck heel. Doug says, dropped at Gibson Nashville. They gave me a quote of $1,000 plus to repair it.
Nice.
Wow. Just for it to happen all again. I don't know.
Keith
Fred
H.
Tomlinson's here. Cool Tunes Made Easy is also here. Basement Guitar Superstar is here.
Keith H. actually poses an interesting question. So you're getting a Les Paul special tribute. Do you want it with P90s or humbuckers? Myself, P90s.
Tom?
I guess depends what you have previously, or if you do or not.
I'm going to go with, because I fell in love with that whitewash special that Gibson released a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And that's got humbuckers in it. And I was like, oh man, this is a punk rock machine. Like, I just want to put this into a Marshall and make my ears bleed. And I love P90s.
Personally, I would go P90s because I don't have any guitar with P90s. But if it was, straight up one or the other and you don't have any other at home, I'm more of a humbucker guy myself. But I mean, they're both great pickups. I just don't own any P90s, so that's what I'd personally go for now. But if I had neither, I would prefer humbucker.
Here's a further thought on
Doug has a follow-up to his repair quote from Gibson Nashville. He says, I told him I didn't ask you to dig up Michelangelo to paint it.
That's the only way we do it. Every time we have this issue, we just dig them up again. That's why the cost so high.
We got Chris from Coburg in the house. We were talking today a pedal paint order because he got his new pedal in. He's like, my nice drive aid just got me into trouble with the neighbors. It works. Get one.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, he sent me a photo. He goes, what order should I place these pedals in? I'm like, looks legit as is, bud. So
now,
he's goosing a DS1 with a nice drive aid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'll goose any pedal. That's like secret extra sauce on any pedal. It's almost like you have an extra spice that does not do anything negative to other spices, only enhances it. And you're like, ooh, what's that new spice?
And I guess since LPD Pedals does sponsor the show, and I'm wearing the Tone Tube, and we should mention We are doing a second run. We're still waiting on the parts, but it will be happening quite soon. We will be doing a second run of the Nice Drive A. And that will be coming soon. But I did want to say we're doing a run of 30, and I think there's only 3 left.
Wow.
So, and they're going to be gone whatever day RJ releases that demo. I'm just saying.
Those 3 will already be gone if they're not, yeah.
Yeah, if they're not gone before RJ does the demo. That'll be the crazy thing. RJ will do a demo.
Get it now.
And Lawrence will have no parts to fulfill the orders. And I hope they still put that link in. And if not, as a mod, I can comment on RJ's videos with a web link.
I'm imagining, Ben and Terry, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened at school. We did kickball sign up for kids after school. First week, kids were stressed about, they're changing lockers all of a sudden. Now, all of a sudden, we have like 90 kids that want to play kickball when there was 30 kids. So now there's going to be Tuesday and Thursday kickball with like 40 to 45 kids in each instead of 30 kids on one day because they found out their buddy was playing kickball and went, I want to play kickball now. They want a nice drive now, a nice drive.
That's awesome, though.
This one, Guitar Man 45. The LPD Pedals.
And congrats, Ben.
Nice drive.
On second round of your pedal, pretty much selling out.
Pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
So.
Already.
I have a master plan about this, Tom, because Lawrence isn't in the chat that we know of to, foil it. I want it to be a production pedal, you see.
That would be awesome.
So, that's the end goal. But I think that's going to take at least 5 runs. And if we've already sold it the second run without, our Filipino brother doing the demo, which could pretty much do a third run right there.
I think if people play it themselves, it would do it no problem. Like, that's the toughest part is getting it.
And then, of course, the ultimate dream is I tune into, my favorite rig rundown channel, which is the best rig, which is the only rig, Premier Guitar. And we're watching whomever. Izzy Stradlin, rig rundown. And he's got a nice drive A on his board.
That's what he brings. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be, if it all of a sudden turned up on a pro player's board, I'd be like,
that's as close you're going to get to like annoying your neighbors by taking like an old Class A amp and literally putting that sucker on 10. But I could talk to you and have it at this level, but it still does that exploding little amp thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you put it on top of a pedal, like you said, it's completely different. It becomes like this colored boost that's, I don't know, it's very, it does its own thing. I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. Let's see, Fretlow Midnight says, I love how it sounds. Curious if it sounds in comparison to my EP booster.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's a great pedal. I mean,
yeah. Does anybody have both pedals in the chat? I'm looking at you, Jay Steen, possibly. Hey, Scott Brockway.
No, I don't.
Basement Guitar Superstar saying hello all again. Did we say hi to Eddie Van Haskell? Because I wanted to say hi to Eddie Van Haskell.
I did in text.
Guitar Man 4 says, I don't think I got the link to get one. Yeah, I put the link in the chat. I don't think it's been out as part of a mail order yet.
Oh, Jay Steen running Nice Drive A into the Revival Drive Compact.
Whoa.
Sounds like some fun.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Dan. He's digging the Tesi shirt. Speaking of which, Rob from Tesi Switch will be on this Sunday.
No problem, Scott Brockway. Enjoying your rat, I see.
See, I have to agree with Fret Level Midnight. He says he loves P90s, but a Les Paul humbuckers is what... Oh, it just jumped on me. Les Paul with humbuckers is what you buy first if you don't own a Les Paul. I mean, that's how I personally feel. I mean, I know it's different for everyone.
I was just going to interject one thought on that. Here's the big thing for me on that. What are the humbuckers that are going to be in the tribute?
I don't care. Whatever are in them, I like them. I hope they're just cheap ass ceramic, whatever. But I think they were uncovered burst buckers. Maybe.
Like if there were like the uncovered 61s,
okay,
that's cool, and some other versions of the pickups. But I mean, a Gibson P90 versus some of their humbuckers, the P90 I feel is a better pickup.
Oh,
in
on
some of
their
their humbuckers.
on their more like not the high end, but on the low and middle grade ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. Probably.
Chris Coburg asked, "Can you suggest any good headphones to play through my amp so I don't piss off my neighbor?" Yeah, those Waza headphones. Those things are awesome. They're not cheap, but they're awesome.
Depends on what your what your connection is.
Probably
Like, is it
headphone out
just
on an
like,
amp.
yeah, like if it's just headphones out, then you can get like something like in-ear monitors like this, or like a full over-the-ear headset. If you're looking full over-the-ear, Sennheisers like Steve from Boston uses.
I bought a
had
pair of
set
Sony's
before.
that Long McQuaid damn near 20 years ago.
I use these ones, which I don't know, they're biodynamics. They're decent, but I'll tell you
Yes.
what's the best for the price that I had were the Sony, the MDR, whatever, the same ones Pete Thorne has them. They're MDR 5706 or 6705 or something like that. But they're like 90 or $100 on the Jungle website, and they sound like they're like $300 or $400. Like they're great headphones. They're my own. I just got these because those finally were starting to wear out. I would use them so much, but
Basement Guitar Superstar asks, Ben, what's your tattoo on your left arm? The visible one, that would be a pinup girl who does not look like my ex at all.
nope.
Ignore the blue eyes and red hair. Thank God it faded.
You can always say it's Elvira.
With her body, well, yeah.
And then no one will make a comment like, "Oh, is it Amanda?" Because I don't want Ben thrown up on the air.
No.
Oh, God.
Anyway, yeah, she's got her legs wrapped around Jimmy Page's Les Paul, which was literally my friend Gabby drew this pinup girl.
Nice.
And I wanted a Les Paul incorporated into it. So literally, we cut out the picture of the pinup girl, made a cut above her leg. I brought in an ad for a Jimmy Page signature Les Paul from a Gibson ad.
Nice.
We literally slid it in, made a copy of that type thing.
That's why the Les Paul looks so perfect. It looks like a real Les Paul.
Because it is it's Jimmy Page's Les Paul.
Hey, Nerd Helen.
Well, she was a redhead at the time. She was also blonde. She was also brunette. What's up, Caleb? Nerd Halen in the house.
What's up, Caleb?
Yeah, it was kind of happenstance. Thank God we almost got my old band's initials on her bikini top, but I didn't. But my singer has my initials on his arm.
That's funny.
Because he got a deck of cards, like a hand of cards, and where you would have a Jack, he has a B instead of a J.
Nice. I dig it. What's up, Symmetry?
Just to address what Fret Level Midnight just said there.
I do have a soft spot for redheads.
Mm.
I'm not gonna
Me
lie.
too. Fret Level Midnight says, amazing, we had a disagreement in chat and nobody tried to fight each other. What a concept. Gear Pages take note. LOL. That's something over the years that I've been in YouTube that, really is commonplace, that people over-exaggerate when they get into arguments. They get to the point that, if I could reach through the screen, I'd punch you right now. It's like, there's no need for that. You can still have respectful disagreements.
One, it was already covered in the chat. Opinions are like assholes. We all have one. And two, 9 times we're talking about art as well, which is all subjective.
Exactly.
Yep.
What's up, Eric? Eric Salinas in the chat.
Hey, Eric, how's it going, man?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I believe in tone wood, but I also like plywood guitars. So sue me. I
Oh, not the dreaded Tonewood Wars of Electric again.
Yeah, like, come on.
I think Fret Level Midnight says overtone would. Blah.
Yeah, I like old wood. Well, you know why I like vintage guitars? Because they're old wood and old paint, and they breathe and all that stuff. You know why? I need all the fucking help I can get. That's why I play a vintage guitar through LPD pedals. I need all the help I can get, and I still sound like Jay Masson on a bad day.
Put that up, man. I respectfully disagree with Terry.
Oh, jeez.
Lawrence.
Oh, good that Lawrence is in the chat now and not earlier.
Yeah, fret level midnight. That's about what it's like, you know. If you don't agree with me,
Yeah.
Lawrence, that would require you to send me one of your pedals to disagree with me respectfully.
He'll send you a broken one. Didn't say it had to be working. Michael, Ben likes plywood. It's a gateway to Dane Electro. Yes, 10 paces at dawn, and then we have a shred off.
Lawrence, you just missed. We were talking about the nice drive A.
And now you're going to be forced to have to order parts for a third run very soon.
Better start looking for them, right?
Yep. And there's something about a plywood Hondo Strat that has a certain sound. I'm just saying. I had a couple of them in the 90s, and I loved them.
The only problem is if you decide, like me, like you can repaint them, and then when you sand through and you realize it's like a quadrillion layers of plywood, and you're like,
Yeah,
ooh.
that's a lot of sealer.
Like they kind of put that sealer exoskeleton on to hold them together.
There's a reason. Yeah, there's a reason why the paint's thicker than eggshells.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Well, Big D actually recently bound some veneers together with this new binding product that apparently is used to make skateboards.
Oh yeah.
And it was like awesome.
I bet.
So he was like, you know, like he couldn't believe even how it sounded. So I mean, even if you were to bind together like thin pieces of wood, like to do
Well,
like
that
you're
thing,
saying,
yeah, you
like,
look at skateboard. That's a thin 7
Now,
ply.
you want to talk about Big D. That's where the wood from now he didn't 100% finish the work, but all the wood and the body and the neck from my Les Paul replica came from him, from Big D. Through my Les Paul Forum, I bought it, you know, off of someone there, because they couldn't sell it anywhere else because it's, you know, it has Gibson on the headstock.
yeah.
But man, the wood came from him, and it's old, really old, real mahogany, you know.
Yes, Brazilian plywood, Lawrence. You know,
But ironically, what I love about mine is instead of a rosewood, it has an ebony fretboard. But that's the only thing that's real about it that's Gibson is it's a real Gibson fretboard from a 72, like a 20th anniversary Gibson fretboard. I don't know if it was from a Les Paul or what. It's a real full Gibson fretboard, you know, 20th anniversary.
Chris Gober says, my dad cut a guitar shape out of a piece of chipboard for me, and we put piano strings through it. Best air guitar ever.
Oh, probably better than
Oh
my
God.
dad.
Mind you, though, if you threw a bunch of sealer on that chipboard, it still probably would sound like a Dan Electro or something.
If you do not own an LPD 87, buy one. I play that pedal every single day for months now. I feel weird saying this with Lawrence present all the time, but I genuinely mean it. Yep. And the one and only Fruitcake Tony's here early.
What's up, Tony?
Sure.
Hey, Tony.
Mike, yes, that barnwood from the 1800s does make the best tellies. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Those barnboard tellies, there's something. They're spanky. Good stuff.
Clean shaven tone.
It's clean shaven tone wood.
I wonder, like, how much you could pull off with people on marking, like, you know, like literally make the guitar out of kind of like that Rich Light stuff, like all kinds of composite materials, but make them look very much like wood, you know.
But make it look traditional as hell.
Yeah.
There is a company out there that actually is a guitar builder. Tom,
Oh, really?
I believe that actually does do an instrument out of all composite.
Oh, wow.
Basement Guitar Superstar is asking if Lawrence has any beanies for sale. He doesn't. He has toques, though. They're tone toques.
I mean,
Even though they don't have a pom-pom.
They're knitted caps.
No, they're not woolen ski caps. That's too long a word. It's a toque. One syllable, one word. For
Terry,
one
I think it's still like, you know, I'd rather have an amazing chef with a steak from Walmart than like this expensive steak and me cooking it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I still think it's like you give any materials to a good luthier and they're going to make something good, you know?
Yeah. It's not a beanie, Tony. It's a tone toque.
I still think people pay a lot for wooden guitars because they like pretty things.
Oh, that's true.
I've been
How about
guilty.
that god ugly amp rehousing you sent me the other day that looked like a piece of furniture. God
What?
I want $1 million for this. No.
Upside down with the two little things, and then had the two little pole things made out of they weren't washers. It was nuts on top of like the real long skinny bolts, so you could pull the power and the standby switch. It was an old 70s Fender that had been flipped upside down and put upside down in a head. So all the controls you couldn't see, they went upside down. They labeled the controls on the top, and they were all in reverse.
Just on tape.
Yeah,
the labeling was half-assed, and it looks like a piece of furniture because it's like in a pine cabinet that was just naturally stained.
Yeah, the bottom pulled down if you wanted to adjust the knobs. So you'd be like, oh, open my bread box and little one down, and oh wait, I got to turn the power on.
That's right.
Standby.
See, Fret Love Midnight, he's got it right. Tone toques beanies are 4-piece patched hats with propellers. Exactly. And if you notice,
yeah, true.
I got a
beanie's the thing you can go like this.
He does, and if you notice, I'm moving my cursor. It says lpdpedals.com/limited-store/piece/lpd-toque.
I still skateboard once in a while. I just don't do any tricks anymore.
I haven't been out this year. I was out last year, and I think the last time was when I shot that video for RJ.
I got scared off because a friend of mine got really into it when he was like 42 or 43, and then he broke his thigh bone. So
that's my problem. I just don't want to jam a hand or a wrist because I have to play for demos all the time.
Exactly. Imagine breaking a wrist. Oh, I've done it. It would suck.
Keith H says, waiting for Christmas to see Ben's red and white toque, no pom-pom.
Toque.
I don't have a Christmas toque, but I do have a ZZ Top Christmas shirt that I wear. I wear it every Christmas. A Godin Session HSS, they're nice.
Keith H wants to see your red and white toque, no pom-pom.
Yeah.
For Christmas.
Charles, 75N in the house. I just want a guitar that looks good, plays good, and sounds great. Nothing else matters. I agree.
Toque cake Tony. Fruitcake Tukey.
2K.
And with his umlets. And notice, Charles, the guitar has moved even closer to the workshop. It goes onto the workbench tomorrow. And I'm even going to say in the video, this video was sponsored by. Just the video is sponsored. Speaking of which, I'm not saying, but I'm saying I got a video game company that reached out to me for a product placement in a video. They want me, insert their ad in a video.
Really?
Yeah. They're like, do you like Diablo? No. Are you interested in this? I'm like, well, you left out the most important part. What are you willing to pay? Because if you're going to say like every other product, hey, we'll give you the product free. I don't want a free video game for product. They're like, our budget is.
Yeah, right.
It was healthy. I'm like, damn. So yeah, they basically offered me like 4 months of my current YouTube income.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I was like, ooh, I don't know. My blood pressure got a serious burn on his
Diablo
thing. So
yeah, I know. Someone told me they got one of for World of Tanks or something.
Yeah, World of Tanks.
Yeah, I mean,
which I play on occasion.
It was a woman. They didn't tell me personally.
Hey, Chris Baseman.
Her stream, and she was telling people in the chat. I should correct myself.
Hey, there's Tink. Thanks again for coming on last night, Tink. Yeah, so partially because last night, Tom, we did really well in the old super chats because of this month being financially challenging. That I'm not going to take the offer on the video, so you won't have to put up with a commercial in the middle of one of my videos unless you. That's your choice. It's not going to be embedded in the video. That's YouTube. That's not me.
Yeah.
Well, I can choose to place an ad in the middle, but I don't choose what the ad is. Put it that way. Actually, the ad you generally see on my videos is of your choosing because it's based on your viewing habits.
Yeah.
See, that's how Ben puts the money right back into the show because he knows people will be so annoyed having to sit through that. So it's like, you know what? I'm not doing that to my viewers.
But yeah, Diablo is coming out with a remake of Diablo 2, I believe. So that's actually awesome that you actually got an offer from something as major as Diablo.
Well, that's why I thought
it wasn't Diablo, but they're like, you like this game? Our game's similar type thing.
Oh. If it was actually for Diablo, that would have been awesome. But some other game that's similar to Diablo, Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be hard to
It was
down.
hard to turn down, Terry.
Yeah.
Your content legit.
Okay, hey, we got a question.
Raid Shadow Legends, the other left says.
It might have been. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's one of the popular ones for ads.
I know that name, yeah. I mean, from hearing it in the ads, you know.
That's actually, thinking about it now, that's what Hunter has on his channel. Raid Shadow Legends.
So, yeah.
Mhm.
So feel free to become a channel member to avoid those type of situations, please.
All right.
Or a super chat, cool. But we have a question, and he bought one of my pedals, so that's the equivalent of like 15 super chats right there. Okay, opinions on Snark style tuners versus pedal chromatic tuners. Terry, no, Tom, because I keep going to Terry first. Tom.
I think they both have their places. I think if you're playing like a live gig or something, you probably want. You know, I don't even know because I see a lot of people live using those Snark tuners as well. So I can't even say that. Let's say if you're recording, maybe you probably want a good pedal based, or even like you can go on your laptop with a computer interface. It doesn't have to be expensive, is what I'm saying, but you know, very accurate tuner. But you know, when I'm sitting around, I use 90% of the time. I would just use like a clip-on tuner. So I think they both have their uses. I tend to spend a little more on the clip-ons that are a little better. The very cheap, like ones you pick out of the box.
Yep.
The battery goes immediately on those. Like the more expensive ones, the battery's usually a little bit longer. But you know,
when's the Waza TU3 coming out? I just thought of that. Terry,
You know,
what's your opinion?
I have a Snark, though
Yep.
I would like the updated one.
Sure.
So I like the clip-on headstock tuners for the aspect of quick tuning.
Mm-hmm.
Ones that are actually more able to show the full scale, I think, would be awesome. But also at the same time, I like that Seiko tuner that I got as well too, for more finely detailed stuff, like doing the setups and adjusting like for intonation and whatnot.
Well, I'm glad one person laughed at that joke. Thanks, Hoss.
is that a quartz? Is it a digital or a quartz tuner?
Quartz.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I thought
have
you
one of
said
those
Seiko.
there.
I thought because they're known for their quartz stuff.
So I'm going to say both have their place. Gigging, I definitely prefer a pedal. Like I talked about, I love that Outlaw because of the display. I'm very big on display, so I'm very choosy. I've never tried the Korg rack tuner, although I've always been a fan of those because you can see it from anywhere.
Yeah,
I dig that. But definitely a pedal tuner because I also like it because it works as a mute. So I appreciate that. But working around at home and stuff, I like the Snarks, you know, like on the workbench because I can just clip it on, do my thing, you know. I've even seen guys who I want to say Phil McKnight, Snark tuner, he would clip it onto the handle of his amplifier.
Oh,
Yeah.
never
I'm
thought
like,
of that.
that's nifty. I like that.
Never thought of that.
Yeah. So there's that. I don't like an overly accurate tuner. I can't tune with them. It's too, like, I can't use the strobe tuner. I'm like, no, it's too accurate. It's like, I just flipping back and forth. I'm like, either I need like 50-to-1 ratio tuners, or we're just no. That's why I like the Outlaw. Works with me, and it still gets me close enough that my bandmates aren't bitching. So
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. So
Certain guitars you have to tune almost all. You have to tune it or intonate it almost to ear because, you know, like you have certain guitars where it's like you might have a low fret. So when you hit that low fret, all the rest of your notes are going to be sharp. So you make that open B a little bit flat, or you make that
However, if Waza does do the TU3, I'll buy one.
That still is funny though. If they
I think a
did that.
Waza TU3, but it's got to be like day glow orange or like fluorescent yellow.
Oh no, it'll be opposite. It'll be black with white writing, so it's even more hard to see.
Matte black, yeah, exactly.
I wonder
The
if it
tuner
would
that
have a
disappears on your
secret.
pedal board. Great.
I wonder if it would have a secret mode to it where it becomes like a Miku.
Yeah, right.
So when it goes in tune, it goes.
And then you can just play with that sound. Yeah, that's what it is. Instead of a mute, it's got a switch, Terry. You can either have it on Miku or you can have it on mute.
Yeah.
Well, just stack the circuits internally and just switch between them.
Eddie
That
mentioned
wouldn't be
you're gonna
expensive.
put the Snark to your eyelid.
Right?
Sure.
That wouldn't make like a $600 or more Waza craft tuner, would it? Leaf score update 2-4 in the second.
Thanks, Zach. I just turned my head and seen it.
So for a midnight message, it's not convenient when it takes up real estate on the pedal board. True. It doesn't go off vibration. The headstock tuner, scientifically, headstock tuner is just factually more accurate than a pedal tuner. Sure, it might be. I don't know.
Well, the other thing with the Snark
But
too,
you know
is
what?
it
He said
functions
he
in two
articulated it well enough that I believe him, because that's the way I work. I'm like, you know what? That sounds. I believe that.
House of 20. I use that Boss app too. The tuner app for the phone works.
I used to use the Fender tuner app. I remember.
Like you said, close enough. You know what I mean? Lawrence has a Korg DT7.
Well, it's like for years I didn't use a tuner. I just tuned whatever string to whatever. As long as the E somewhat sounded close to an E, I'm not playing with anybody, so what do I care?
okay.
And then
Two
I
people
realized
in the
over
side
time,
chat.
the E was getting closer to D, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this sounds really sludgy.
Two people in the side chat have confirmed there is a Waza TU.
Yes. Now I have to get one. Damn it. My PayPal link is down below. I don't want to pay for that. But if we raise the money to buy one, I'll do a demo on it.
I mean, it does make you think about how much you buy stuff with your eyes. Because I had a student I went to school with. I was going to school. One of the guys that I used to.
I just want to say, the guy who left this comment can't even tune a radio. So
anyway, I was in school, and this guy that I was recording was a guitar player, phenomenal guitar player, but he was legally blind. And so he didn't really see shapes and definitions of things, and even colors were off. I mean, he had a seeing eye dog. I mean, he could see dark and light, but not a lot of color.
So the dog looked at his tuner.
Yeah, he could see grayscale.
He played, exactly, grayscale. Thank you. He played this hot pink Jackson with a Floyd Rose, and he was a jazz guitarist.
Oh wow!
But it had EMGs, and he played it on the EMG, the 81 neck pickup, clean sound, and it sounded like played through a JC 120, and it sounded great.
Sure.
And he said to me all the time, he goes, "You buy with your eyes so much you don't realize." He said, "Because I don't have that ability to use my eyes, I buy with my ears." And he goes, "This was the best sounding guitar in that store when I went." I was just like, wow. He was a phenomenal guitar player, though, too. I mean, but because he didn't have that crutch of using his eyes, like even playing, it's like, well, I never could use my eyes. So he's sitting there talking, he's staring at you, and just jamming his ass off, like shredding. Yep. He's staring you right in your soul.
Really? I think we both tuned that song in several times.
Have you guys watched the Tool live where they have the drummer cam?
No, I'm not a Tool fan.
So when he hits them real hard, you see it go like this. Oh, dude, it's so intense.
I just remember when the first Tool single came out, I went, nope, not for me, and I moved on.
Some of their stuff's not for me, but I love their drummer.
I just never. There's a lot of bands I just never got into. Big bands, very successful bands, not a fan at all.
I love the drums when it's like that.
Oh God, Doug.
Eric Salinas, if I practice blind fiddle, I'll be shredding soon. Of course.
Sure.
I've heard of guitar teachers that said practice in the dark because you're freeing your hand from like your eyes having to. It's kind of like
I used to get when I was playing with One Day to Live, our singer, he'd just bitch about me because I think I mentioned last night, like when we'd have photographers come out to shows, you'd have to just click, you hope for the best shot type thing.
Yeah.
And so quite often we both bring cameras out and give them to people to shoot photos.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, he goes, I have 142 pictures of you from last night. You know how many of them you're not looking at your left hand? I'm like, how many? None. He goes, no, if you're playing guitar, you're looking at it. Otherwise, you're like screaming, pointing, blah, blah, blah. So you're clearly not playing. The rest of the time, you're looking. And then the other guitar player is sitting there laughing his ass off. He goes, I don't know why you're laughing. You're looking at yours half the time.
I mean, if you look at, I don't care who it is. I was watching last night, the 83 Hydra Sheep Tour, Eddie Van Halen, and he breaks into Romeo Delight and he does the opening tapping parts, and you got to hit that right on to nail it. He has the guitar up here. He does that intro, and as soon as he's finished that intro, the ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-na-na, well, that part he's running around. But even Eddie Van Halen, when he plays the tapping part, he holds the guitar up and stays in one spot,
Yep.
And he was looking at the neck.
The Haas brings up something interesting. Speaking of staring at you, Bent Tom, does anyone else get weirded out when a YouTuber guitarist is playing something where they look straight at the camera? Does anyone feel that's weird?
I'm just laughing because, was it every 8th RJ video he'll be playing? And all of a sudden he looks up, and the way he looks at the camera is like totally to make sure it's still recording because he just hit something that he's trying. You see him, he kind of looks up, okay, and then back. And it wasn't, hey, did you see that? And then there was the one that also went, the LPD Vermin demo, where he's just shredding and just staring at the camera while he's shredding.
There's one where he's, I want to say if you go back to, I think it's the Spanish Castle pedal, the double one he did, Solid Gold Effects, and Spanish Castle Magic or something. And I think it's that one, maybe not, but he's playing, he's like really getting into these Hendrixy things, and then he looks at the camera and goes, like, oh, I wasn't supposed to be looking at the camera. But he doesn't miss a beat with what he's playing, but his eyes do all the talking. It's like oh, I love that.
He hasn't reached that level of age yet where the jaw kicks in.
Ardens doesn't age the same at whatever age he is now that he did at 20. 20, 21, 22.
Very true.
He doesn't, man. That guy.
Kobe Rody says walking the rail and playing guitar kind of frees up your peripheral vision. Standing on risers, speakers, done that.
I know
we used to do that a lot because we had lights in our risers, when they worked. Most of the time they didn't. Depended on the place we're playing at. But quite often, if there was minimal or no stage, we'd always put those out. And sometimes we'd use them in front of a stage to make the stage bigger. So
maybe Haas is talking about RJ. He said there's a Nashville player that's jamming while he looks right into your soul, as Ben Tom would say, gives me the creeps. He might even be talking about RJ.
Yeah, are you actually talking about RJ?
Either that, or you know who does that? Thurston Ford does that.
Yeah.
It could be Thurston Ford or Guthrie Trapp. If you don't know any, guitar players out there, if you do, most people know Guthrie Trapp, but if you don't, because he's played with such huge acts, but if you don't know Thurston Ford, he's actually from Pittsburgh, PA, but he's a Nashville guy now.
And Simon says, no, it's not RJ.
Same guitar player.
So it's not RJ. And there's my lovely sister, Amanda.
Hey, Amanda.
Oh, before I forget, because I thought of it earlier, I wanted to give the Patreon. Oh, wow, I just found a bag of weed. Sweet. No, I mean, I just found a bag of weed.
For a second, I thought you were going to say, oh, I found a bag of cookies.
Guitar Man 45's guitar instructor at Wayne State University in the 70s, was a hippie guy with a poncho and sandals, really good at classical guitar. That's awesome, dude. That is
Prefer to teach under a tree, perhaps?
Did you bring him a little, a little lid as a, pre-last?
See other left. Speaking of other left, I've been off the moonshine for a while, Max.
Beer while he plays.
Every once in a while.
You're talking about Book. You're talking about Tom Bukovac.
Probably.
He drinks Rolling Rock while he plays, or he drinks. He'll drink like Yingling once in a while. No, he doesn't drink Yingling. That's someone else.
So I wanted to give a shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. You get a shout out if you're on the list because you don't look different in the chat like the members. So you deserve a shout out. And so we'll start with Randy Crooks, Other Left, Absolute Mayhem, Brad Guitar Miller, Charles Green, Cousin Todd Flowers, Craig Tomlinson, Grumpy Mike Guitar, Blackjack Guitar, Bent Tom, Fruitcake Tony, Jose Benito Martinez Jr., JP Page 2, John, ZD351, Charles 75N, fucking believable, who's off doing stuff. I hope he's having a great time. I forget where he is, but he's off somewhere. Knucklehead 0, Keith H, saw him in the chat. Joe C, Mickey Settlemeyer, Paul McNary, Symmetry, and of course, Guitar Man 45. So thank all of you patrons on Patreon, where you see exclusive content every month. It's getting up to a video every other week at least, plus other stuff, I guess. Sure. Yeah. And Amanda's videos are on the Patreon and the channel members. And she's sorry, not sorry.
Is Sam feeling any better, or is she still under the weather?
Well, she's in bed, so that's good. I saw that. That's good.
Well, I hope she feels better.
Yeah.
I think Simon's talking about Tom Bukovac because he said he often drinks beer while he plays, and he's a Nashville guy. He is Haas. He's probably the number one first call guy in Nashville for any session.
And touring. He tours as well too, right?
Yeah,
because that was the thing. A lot of Nashville guys won't tour, and he's one of the guys that actually will.
Bukovac's like he'll drop like the biggest name, like touring, and he'll be like, "I just got off tour with And
actually, it's kind of interesting.
There's our Sam update.
That's good.
Chris McCoberg with a news update. Just smoked something called Wagner's Cherry Jam, and now I'm looking at the pizza menu. Damn.
Wagner's Cherry Jam.
Pizza is kind of like Domino's, Tom, and all you Americans. Similar. It's a pizza chain. Started in Toronto in the 60s.
Pizza.
I saw your picture, but I did not see the actual close-up. What were the three strains that you got for that price that was so low that it made me cry? Was it like
Purple
a pink
Haze?
It was Purple Haze. I saw something with a P.
Purple Hindu.
Okay.
And Great White North.
Oh, all really good.
Which were regularly priced at $40, $45, and $50, which is still remarkably cheap.
Man, I can't even.
No, each pizza is round. Square Boy was square.
Pizza does do square party pizzas.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess similar to Little Caesars, I guess.
Wait,
except actually better pizza.
Can you guess what kind made for dinner?
What?
Can you guess what kind made himself for dinner?
Meat.
No.
Oh.
Chocolate.
A square pizza.
Oh.
Literally.
Oh, nice.
Because all the round gluten-free ones that I keep finding, they put milk in them. Like, we're gluten-free, but we put shit tons of milk in it. Well, he can't have milk either, so thanks. Not that they know that it's not the company's fault.
Sure.
Crazy Jerry, floop-de-doo, just asked.
All right. I'll give you I think only Amanda would get it in the chat, but I made something for dinner tonight that Dad's been craving tremendously for a good couple of weeks, and they didn't realize. And then I made it tonight. Big old plate of bacon and eggs.
Oh, nice. I'm sure he enjoyed that.
The two of us polished off an entire pack of bacon.
Awesome.
Way to go.
I was feeling rather lethargic at about 6 p.m. this evening.
You get the meat sweats.
Oh, I think I ate 7 slices of bacon. So
the sodium was rising up through your ear.
I'm just waiting for my ankles to start swelling. Doug knows what I'm talking about. When I eat too much salt down south, also I get the cankles. Because normally you can see, the ball of my ankle quite a bit because I'm a skinny guy, and then all of a sudden it's gone. She gone.
So let me tell you a little quick story, like a little 10-second story. I get so worried about Kyan because he bounces on a yoga ball all day, but he puts his foot like this and he bounces all day like this on it, after school from like 4 till 9 or 10 p.m. I look at his foot one day. His foot muscles are so developed. I take him to the doctor and I'm like, oh my God, did he break something? He goes, no, he just has really overdeveloped foot muscles. He's absolutely fine. Because his are just like meaty, like feet, But I'm like you, Ben. Mine are really bony,
Yeah, I know it's water retention. I get it from too much salt for some reason. I don't get it. All I know is that if Doug takes me to Golden Corral, my ankles swell. So, yeah. Do you ever try the cauliflower crust for pizza, Tom?
Yes, but the problem is there's so few gluten-free frozen items at my grocery store that they go really quick. So
and as far as the style of eggs, no, not scrambled. Basically sunny side up, but with the old cover on them. So they right in, just floating in the bacon grease, of course, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of deep fried in a way. They were. It was good.
I actually watched a YouTube video talking about that best way to cook eggs, and that was actually the #1 best way to cook eggs is in the bacon grease, if you're having them with bacon.
You got to put up what Amanda said. Damn, that Coombs ankles are thick.
Lazy man's over easy. Exactly, because that's how Dad told me to cook them.
I'm an omelet kind of guy. I like to put a bunch of stuff.
Yes, fortunately, Scott, that's only happened to me a few times. And also, yes, Golden Corral is the sodium barn. I agree, Floop-de-doo. And hello to Floop-de-doo. I forgot to actually say hello by name. Terry, you losing weight?
Yes, actually, I just got complimented earlier today when I was at the optometrist booking
I'm considering Scott complimenting you now.
Thanks.
There you go.
He says, Scott's lost some weight too. I'm just saying. I noticed that the last time he was on. He's been losing some weight too.
Nice job.
Bacon gravy.
Amanda said I read that properly.
Oh, believe me, I already thought about the bacon gravy. Milt says you made a cauliflower pizza crust yesterday. Turned out good. Yeah. I prefer real pizza crust, but because I can eat it. Fortunately, I don't have to resort to things like, well, this tastes like. Well, no, you know what tastes like? That. The actual tastes like. But
actually,
20 pounds. There we go.
You also have to watch when it comes to cauliflower pizza crusts. Like in the case of aforementioned pizza, they offer it as a pizza option. What they don't tell you is that it's only about 20% of the crust is actually cauliflower. And the rest of it is basically like regular pizza dough.
Yeah, there's one that I can get at my local one, and then I think it's all cauliflower, but I don't know, the consistency's still a little bit weird.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Awesome Gear Junkie 35. Again, just to jump in with that thing, especially when us men get older, we need to get more on our health issues or soon to occur health issues.
And having split a pizza or two with Milt, I know for a fact that cauliflower crust wasn't his choice. There was a period of time for a couple of months in 1995, a few months. Milt and I actually lived together.
I'll have to check that out, Michael Cross, and there's a tree
in Windsor, Ontario.
The Odd Couple?
Oh, there was a third person too, and it was a studio apartment, Terry.
Oh my God.
It was like 3 of us and 400 square feet.
Oh,
if that.
Yeah. Ben, how blissful is the first morning when you don't have to wake up with like roommates that you're like, should I fall asleep? Because what are they going to do when I'm asleep? You're like, oh my God, I don't have to like protect myself while I sleep. Like,
Well, no, literally, Milt had a single bed. I slept on the floor. A buddy of ours, Scott, slept on the floor as well. The three of us sleeping took up half the apartment. Like literally.
and then
That was the entire living room, bedroom. And then there was kind of another room, which was the kitchen with a bathroom off of it.
and
Yeah,
just
it
as
was,
you fall asleep, someone decides that.
He's like, no need for details. That was a small place. But saving bank in the process, right? And then we had moved into town to get jobs. Then we got jobs and moved out.
Way to do it, yeah.
Of course, I left a guitar at his place for about 6 months or a year or two. Or
I'll tell you what, there's a train station probably only 2 miles from my house that goes right into Philly. It'll get you into Philly in the morning in like 25, 30 minutes or less, with no traffic, obviously. All those houses right across the street from where it is, they'll get rented out and there'll be 7, 8 guys deep sleeping there because they work different shifts. They're all like young business guys. They just want to bank as much money. So it's like, you know, maybe because it's near the train station, it's $1,600 a month. So $200 a month each, and they're there to sleep. They're like, all right, you're not bringing anyone over. It's just we come here, we eat, we sleep. That's it. You know?
hey, Great Manzini in the house. Yeah, that was like we moved there to go to work at the casino, which Milt was already working at. So I had 2 part-time jobs waiting to get in at the casino. So I was like working as a telemarketer during the day, and I mean old school. Like we were selling freezers of meat, old school. Because I know I crank called Milt a couple of times because I knew he'd be sleeping. So I call, hey, you want some meat? Fuck off. I'm like, yeah. I also called Doug's dad, Uncle John, because we were canvassing the Kitchener-Waterloo region. I'm like, I'm calling Uncle John. So I did. That job was terrible. I did not last long at that. They should have fired us earlier, but they knew that we were like new in town and broke. So, and I had a job waiting tables where I'd eat at the restaurant as well. They'd feed me as well. I'm all emaciated. And yeah, good times. But I did see an amazing Leone's Music, which is no longer there. They bought a car dealership. And that was you figure a car dealership from the 80s, which is a good sized showroom, to hold, half a dozen or more cars plus desks and stuff. It was all guitars, and guitars like, I don't know, 6 rows high because it's a 2-story open space. And I'm like,
wow.
With the, they had a little catwalk around the top. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. And that was the first place I ever saw a Parker Fly.
Oh yeah.
And
they're carbon fiber or something, are they the bottom?
Yeah. I was just like, oh, that's the future, type thing. And I remember there was a really cool rack unit I wanted to buy, and I forget what it was. It was just called the Signature, and it was what is now commonplace, but we're talking 1995. It was 108 presets of 108 different guitarists.
Oh wow.
And they went by name: Tony Iommi, Eddie Van Halen, Zakk Wylde, and it was just bing, 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 and it was just every preset was a famous guitar player, and it was like, holy fuck, that's awesome. Of course, I couldn't afford it. I'm like, so what are you here for? I need a pack of strings after I played guitars for 2 hours, and we walked. Like it was like 2-mile walk each way. Could have taken the bus, but we just kept walking. Well, because Windsor's one of those cool places where every block the street goes up by 100 on the numbers. So we're like, oh, piece of cake, we'll walk it because it was like 1,200 and we're at 700. We thought, no. It reset the numbers, and then they started going down the other way. And we're like, what? But it's the same street. It wasn't like an east and a west or a north and a south. It was still the same. I'm like, how? But it was weird because the numbers, the way they're spaced out, they're able to space out the numbers the other way. I was like, this is fucking weird. All I know is I walked a long ass time. I think we did take the bus back. I'm like, I ain't walking back.
I did that when I was in San Francisco. I got lost. We were walking everywhere. I mean, we must have walked over 10 miles that day. We went all over the whole. It's not a huge city, the main part of it, but just everywhere. And then I was like, on the way back, no, we're gonna get like an Uber back. I can't walk that.
Well, there we are. people talking pedals in here. Did we miss any questions?
You're getting 35.
No, I really don't think we have.
George,
Other than it's now gone into pizza talk and ways to cook pizza.
Well, there's pizza talk in overtime. Overtime. Well, we do with the food portion of the show, as well as Canucks with guitars and food and tone fuel, if you will.
No.
Well, again, like you said, that's all part of Canadiana. We really do have a rich history in foods.
Well, we also have a rich history on this channel of me not preparing for a show each week. Yes, I did mention it earlier, sis, before you got here, but Rob from Tesi Switch will be joining us this coming Sunday. Also, coming up, Amanda doesn't know because she wasn't here last night and she missed the start of the show. Coming up, let me bring up a calendar here.
I was going to say, wasn't it this coming Monday, or is it the next one after that?
Because somebody's in Florida 1 week from tomorrow, or one week from today. That's because he's preparing that, and we're talking about Pete Thorne because he's preparing for the Mitch Malloy Van Halen Experience show in Denton, Florida, which I believe is like the 5th or something. It's right around there. And then when he gets back, so that would be Monday the 11th, Pete Thorne will be co-hosting Canucks with Guitars.
Nice.
In theory.
Yep.
Unless something comes up, because the man is a rock star. So.
What's up, Boner Jams?
Hey, Boner Jams.
What's up, sexy?
Scott Brockway does ask. Yes. I'll ask my usual Gear of the Week.
Gear of the Week. All right. You know what? Well, I like this. Scott Brockway, as long as you keep bringing it up every week, we'll do a Gear of the Week. Gear of the Week is going to be, we each pick a piece of gear that we're currently hot and horny over. Like, it could be something you own, something you want, you're lusting over, but, something that tickles your fancy of the week. So,
sounds like a good idea.
For me, my Gear of the Week is still reigning champion will be the LPD Pedals Cascade Reverb. I'm still totally in love with that thing. I can't play without it. That's my Gear of the Week. Terry, Gear of the Week? Could be something new announced too, I suppose, right? Because you're like, oh, that just came out.
Well, again, as usual, since I've got it, if I have an inkling to want to play guitar, it's this Jackson Dinky with the arch top and with the aftermarket El Cheapo
Invaders.
Invaders in it.
Oh, wait, is that a 7-string?
No, it's a 6.
Okay, sweet. All right.
I traded away the 7-string for it.
I remember that. I'm like, yeah, but did you get another one?
No, that's something definitely that once my finances probably stabilize more next year, I'll probably look at a 7-string.
Dude, if you want to play low, just pick up your bass. Tom?
But for the money, those are great guitars. Other than the trim, as you said.
See, I like that. Hang on here. Billy Baloney says, I got a new pedal board, so I have enough room for my nice drive, eh?
Nice.
Nice. Tom, Gear of the Week?
I've been messing around again with my Eventide H9.
Ooh,
Industry
nice.
standard.
Reverbs, delays, that kind of stuff. Pitch shifting.
Yeah, that was an all-in-one kind of pedal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you talk about like these other pedals that came out that were like pricey, that was the pedal that if you're going to pay a high price for, that was the one. Or I think even in some instances, some people had like up to 3 of them.
Yeah, because they can only do one thing at a... Well, would you say, Tom,
They
is the
have
best...
dual algorithms, though, so you can do 2.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, isn't it the best representation of rack gear on a pedal board? Because they took rack quality algorithms and were able to put it in a pedal form.
The pedal is a very basic like ARM processor computer. That's all it is. Yeah. So it's the same algorithms they use on their like in the box DAW ones you can buy. Like you can buy the H9 pedal to use in your DAW, But the thing I like about it is you can take it, run it into your DAW, and it can run line level, and you can use the delays and reverbs and pitch shifting after the fact on guitars and process them and use it like a rack unit. But the reason I got it is because it does the Eventide harmonizer stuff. Now it doesn't sound quite as good as a real one, but the real ones I should have bought one when they went down to like $700 to $800 like 10 years ago. Now they're back up to like $2,500 to $3,000. So I'm not buying it.
All right, I'm going to cover here. We got Scott and Tank and somebody else. They're all talking about the Soul Food and the Crayon by Electro Harmonics. All right, so here's the dealio on those EOS. The Soul Food was marketed as a transparent overdrive, which anybody will tell you it's basically their version of a Klon.
Yep.
Soul Food is the Electro Harmonics Klon.
Yep.
The Crayon is the Soul Food with an added bass control, not an active bass control though. If you want it to be active, that's where the LPD Embers comes in. See what I'm saying? So basically it's a Klon with an added bass control. I used both of those pedals for a number of years, including stacking them. And that's what it is. So for those who don't know. And you know what? If you're going to buy the Soul Food, you might as well buy the Crayon for $5 more and or $10 more and get the bass control. And the Crayon is a sweet little pedal.
Yeah,
that was my go-to, like literally for years. That was my medium gain.
Like color.
So I used it most of the night.
Yeah.
Because I had less gain was my Screamin' Blues. That was my low, basically clean tone because it wasn't set. It wasn't dimed or anything. And then my Crayon was my everything all the time. And then for a handful of songs where I needed really heavy, then I used like the Boss Mega Distortion because all of a sudden I needed that chug for something. So, but usually when I was playing like Tom Petty, Mike Campbell stuff, it's Crayon Into the Blues Deluxe.
It's perfect for that kind of sound. Like I use Embers into like a Blues Junior, so similar,
So there's that on that. Let's see if we have anything else happening. There's going to be a video out this week on the Gretsch, because I was told. I guess there will be technically 2 sponsors mentioned in it, I guess. Considering someone supplied the strings and someone paid for the video. So. Should we mention it? If you would like to sponsor a video, feel free to contact me, email down below, or do a super chat requesting a video on something that I own or do. Obviously you'll be a regular and the stuff. You're like, I want to see something done with your Mockingbird. All right, what do you want done?
Also, to also throw in there, anyone who wants to participate in the community hangs, again, be a regular, have webcam, have a mic that is in working order,
or a fully charged mobile device. Not an iPad. An iPhone will work, or I don't know, non-Apple tablets. Are there still non-Apple tablets on the market? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, there's all kinds of them. But some type of device that you can connect into StreamYards with, and
what's up, Robot Master Switch?
Again, be a regular in the side chat, and when Ben does another community hang, ask to join and send him an email asking, and you might end up with the link.
There you go. What was the latest song I've been working on or trying to learn? Dinosaur Jr. tune.
7
I knew it.
Off their new album, Garden.
I love Jay Mascis, man.
What's up, Jay? Speaking of Jays.
Did I ever tell you when we went to see them? One of my buddies I was there with, and he's in a wheelchair, and so we go up the back elevator because there's no way you can get up the steps. There's steep steps. And Jay goes, "Nice chair, man." Like he's just like so matter of fact.
Nice chair, man.
I was like, "Thanks, man." And he's like, "Oh yeah, rock on." And we were like, "Great show." And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man."
I used to cover Creep by Radiohead.
7/8.
I didn't do much in Creep. I just stood there for the most part. I came in at the I did that. And that's where I had like a Boss Mega Distortion on the board for just that. And we covered Zombie as well.
That part is just as imperative to the impact of the song, in my opinion, because it's just like, wow, like the contrast.
Yep.
You know?
And I think I brought a different guitar. Like I used literally, again, for that and Zombie, I had a Les Paul just for those two songs because they play a telly the rest of the night.
Mr. Rhythm Chops from Hell himself, 7/8, Jay. Gizmachi, Rhythm of the Gods.
Good Thomas Duffy.
That's right. Oh, Billy Baloney. I
don't know if I remember how to play Creep. Yeah, Jay Mascis would be the loudest guitar player you've ever heard.
So when I saw him, he had a 200-watt, the Pig, the Marshall Major, full stack, and then he had another 100-watt super bass full stack, and then some little Fender, and this was in a pretty small club. And someone had a decibel meter near the board, and they said it was like over 115 decibels.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, he usually runs 2 Marshall heads and a high watt.
That's what it was, a high watt. It wasn't a Fender. Thank you. It was a high watt.
And then Lou also runs Jay runs like 2 Plexis and a high watt, and Lou runs an 800 and an SVT, and I want to say a PV solid state head.
Dual SVTs. He had a SVT head on 2 8x10s and another SVT head on 2 8x10s. And he was going into those SVT stacks in stereo for the bass and stereo. And they had 2 drummers, Ben, one on stage, such a small club. They had one off stage, and they were playing mixed parts, but a lot of stuff in unison. Very cool.
All right. Question. Here's a question. No, if he doesn't know the answer, I assume he's just posing it. What does the Pig have tone-wise and gain-wise that the Super Lead doesn't? A few more decibels. I think that's about it. 115 is... I hit 118 on stage last time I checked. I know, it's not good. It's
and that's why you have tinnitus
well,
now, Ben. Now, I was going to say, people say Mascis is loud, so are people saying that he's actually louder than Malmsteen?
Jay Mascis was the loudest I've ever heard. I had earplugs in, and I was still going like this.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard Dinosaur Jr. live. I don't know. Ingwe is pretty damn loud.
That's what I was saying. Everybody says that.
Ingwe's also more shrill. He has a more piercing tone, right? Whereas Jay's just... I got big muffs into Marshalls, and you're gonna like it.
He would hit his low note, whether it was a C sharp, a D, or an E, depending on something. He would hit that low string, and you would literally feel like a line array PA.
Okay.
Hit you in the chest. Now, granted, we were only 15 feet back, 20 feet back maybe, and direct line of where the amps were, but I mean, it literally hit you in the chest. It was intense. You could feel it. When he was tugging, he's hitting you in the chest. It was an awesome experience. But had I not had, earplugs, I probably would have had to leave. It was that loud. I mean, it was insanely loud.
He uses a Fender Twin aimed at his face for a monitor. He's loud.
Maybe that's what I saw. I thought I saw a Fender. Maybe that's what I saw. But Ben's right. It was a high watt in the back.
Yeah, I remember. Which rig rundown I was watching? Oh, it was one of the last iterations of the Allman Brothers, and they all used twins as monitors on stage.
I'll tell you what, though, when you get
and they all loved it, Tom, because they can adjust their own volume. If the monitor isn't loud enough,
and if it's a little dry, you just turn a little reverb on. But like the Hendrix, what is it? Is it Maui or it's one of those? I think it's the Hawaii. One of those where the video came out, and he has those Showman dual Showman reverbs.
Right.
Yeah.
They're 4x15 cabinets, and they're stacked all together. And he's got all those. But you know, I'm sure you guys have been through that. Ben, I know you've done this and blown your ears out like me. It doesn't even matter if it's a Fender when you 100 watts. If you turn that the whole way up, throw any kind of slight gain pedal in front of it, it's going to be loud and raunchy as hell. You know, like guy went to school with played a 70s twin reverb, but he put an original Rat in front of it, and he had just loudest, craziest tone, you know. And then he'd bring in just a tiny bit of reverb, you know.
Jay says he always wears earplugs, whether playing or watching. I was saying I can't wear them on stage because I'm singing.
Yeah, you got to protect your ears.
Yeah, I tried doing one earplug just on the drummer side so I could try to hear myself singing. But then half the time you don't have monitors that don't work anyway, so you're just screaming, and then it almost works into like muscle memory for your voice too. You know, like you're like, I'm hearing this in my head, so I know that's on key because we haven't changed the key we play it in. But also half deaf.
Front Level Midnight
Yeah,
says,
that's awesome.
how loud do you have to be outside at a concert to literally kill mass amounts of ocean life? That's Knuckin' Futs. That would take a lot of wattage.
Like, I want to make a comment off of what Scott said. Plexi Super League are also really loud. I swear people don't believe you when you say this, and I think Lawrence might have experience with this, and a lot of you guys might as well. You know, I've owned an actual 68 Super League, and I have a 71 metal. And I play, you know, a shit ton of them just because I love them. But there are ones that are really quiet, and there are ones that are really loud, and there are ones that are really clean, and there are ones that are super gainy. And you know, it could just, you know, the difference in gaininess and clean ones could be parts drifting over time. And I guess the same with, you know, volume could be different, keys, whatever. But the one I have now, the 71, is so loud and so punishing, you know. But Lawrence can attest, yeah. You lead into 2 4x12s. Even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes to play it, your adrenaline and your heart rate are going to go way up. It's this feeling that, I mean, you could probably do it with a modeler if you had like a 1,000-watt gauge. You know what I mean, Terry? This pure like sonics. You know, like literally, like it will move your shirt. Like,
Yeah.
that is a feeling that just goes up the back of your spine. You know?
I knew we were playing loud on occasion, especially like out, you know, because you always had to turn up louder outside for whatever reason.
That's a great feeling.
And looking over, and my drummer would stop playing because he's reached over to keep my head from falling off my cab. So then,
yeah,
and I'm just like, we need a roll of duct tape on stage, stat.
And that's why if you play at home, you can buy cheaper cabinets. If you're playing even in a local band, but you're playing out a lot, don't buy a cheap 2x12, 1x12, 4x12. It will rattle itself apart. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I'm surprised that thing's still in one piece, honestly, because you figure moving it around too, right? Like it's just like it gets vibrated loose, then you're dumping it in and out of trailers.
And the cold and the hot, the expansion and contraction. Yep, that's 100% it. You know, whereas if it sits at home, it never changes temperature. You know. Oh, there you go, Lawrence. I'm sorry, Terry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Thomas Duffy asked Ben, have you tried the new Orange Super Crush 100 yet?
I have not. I was like, do I have a local orange dealer? Yes. Do they actually keep oranges in stock? Yeah, they do, but it's teeny weensy ones.
I think a lot of those are also on pre-order right now, because the last time I looked up the price on the one, which was $749 Canadian, that was at the Evil Empire Long and McQuaid, and it was on pre-order.
So
And
this
same
makes
thing as Sweetwater in the U.S. They also had it on pre-order. So they must be throwing the product out for demo and then finally throwing the supply out eventually.
Lawrence said, I'm hearing correctly, mostly with different voltages. Lower voltages are quieter and have more gain. That was like the 68 I had. The higher voltages were louder and cleaner. So he said 425 to 500. The 71 I have now, the guy that I take it to work on it, he said that it measured at 541 and he had to do some sort of, I think he put in like a Zener diode or something. I don't know I probably have that wrong. Lawrence can correct me and laugh at me, but he put some sort of modification in to lower the voltage slightly because I was red plating all of the modern tubes I was using. I couldn't find modern tubes that would work. So then I took it back to him and adjusted. And he suggested I got, I forget what it's called. Ground box. This is what I use it for now, but so you just put it in, select where the wall is, between 120 to 126. I get over voltage here, and then it allows you to lower it up to 10%. So if it's coming in at the wall at like 125, I can lower it to 112 and a half. I don't have to go down that much. It puts me much closer to what the voltages were back in the US, which is closer to, or even, like I said, mine will hit 123, 124 sometimes, way voltage. Okay, so that's what he did. Zener diode between the center tap on the power transformer and the ground to lower voltage. Yeah, that's why I don't work on my nicer amps or more expensive amps, because I don't know how to do that kind of stuff. I'm not an engineer, so I do basic.
We got 2 questions now.
All right, and we'll probably wrap up the show on 2 questions. I realize I'm just sitting here noodling. I zoned out.
Sounds good though. I like it.
Yeah. Thomas Duffy, Canucks. Who are your favorite guitar players? Well, we already know one of yours, Ben.
Yeah. Izzy Stradlin, Rick Richards, Ronnie Wood, my dad, Ace Frehley, Eddie Van Halen, Jimmy Page, Paul Kossoff. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jay Mascis. But not. I don't play like him. I wish I could. I strive to play like Jay Mascis.
I love his playing.
Yeah, I don't know what scale he plays in, and I don't think he knows either. So, it's one of those things I'd love to pick his brain, but it's pointless because he knows zero theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in one of the rig rundowns that he's done in the past, he has mentioned briefly what he thinks he's tuned into, and I think he's an E flat player.
Well, hell, he only learned how to palm mute 3 years ago when his first album came out in 1985. Do the math.
Yeah. So.
Tom? Warren Hodges. I don't know Warren Hodges. I'll have to check out Warren Hodges. Why do I the name rings a bell.
Am I quiet? 7/8J Hannon said, can't hear what I'm saying. It might be my voice. I have.
And I was noodling too.
When Ben was noodling, you were quiet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I missed that. Oh, I'm late to the game.
Yes, Jay Mascis did briefly play with J.J. Allen. Briefly.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, briefly. He's also, he's kind of credited with getting the Stooges back together, because when he was playing with like Mike Watt and someone else and stuff, Iggy's just like, no, I'm having none of that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, Tom, take it away. What are your favorite players or influencers, I guess?
I was like a Clapton during Cream era. I didn't like later Clapton as much. I like the Marshall stack and the SG, 61 SG Les Paul. Of course, Jimmy Page was a big Hendrix guy. and then I got into Van Halen, and that was about it. I mean, I love a lot of players, but those are the main guys for me. I love Jeff Beck too. That's the other guy I love from. I guess he's from older school, but he's still around.
And Michael, you're probably right based off a brief rundown there. If he's playing with Dan Baird now, makes sense because that's who Rick Richards played with in Georgia Satellite. So
yeah.
Terry?
Okay. In my case, of course, if you going
Bo
trying
Gilbert,
to go,
Ingwe Malmsteen, Steve Carr.
yeah, because I can play like them.
Well, it's clearly evident. If anyone's heard Terry on a bass, the Ingwe comes out.
I'm talking rock because if we go to different genres, man, we'll be here all night.
Yeah, in my case, chronologically, Les Paul.
Nice.
Then you're talking Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Clapton a little bit. Trying to think what else. Oh, Iommi. So a lot of the older school kind of players. Newer players. I can't think of any. I do
Newer
like
players are influenced by me.
Sean Lane was insane.
The most egotistical thing I've ever said on here.
I would almost put Sean Lane in that kind of fusion category with other guys, similar that are at that level, because that's just a different.
Honorable mentions to Steve Jones as well. Yeah, Chris McCobert, Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols for sure. Because the Pistols were that little more riffier than the Ramones.
Right.
Although, the Ramones, because they were the first band that kind of showed me I didn't have to, you can play with feeling over talent.
Yeah.
Because that was my first exposure to punk rock in any way.
Another one I just thought of course, not a favorite of Ben's because of previous things, but Canadian David Wilcox, Bryan Adams.
I'm like, who do I not like? You're like David Wilcox. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Bryan Adams, Jeff Healey.
Bryan Adams and Keith
Jeff
Scott.
Healey was sick. Jeff Healey.
Yeah.
Man,
there's.
Although I can't play anything like him, which kind of falls in. As much Eddie Van Halen as an early influence was Derry Green from Honeyman Suite.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of you can tell he was we tell a lot of guys in the 80s influenced by Eddie, but I mean really to the point where I didn't realize it until I reconnected with that band as a fan about 10 years ago, and you're watching all the live clips. Still to this day, Derry's either playing his Tire Tread Kramer that he had in all those rock videos in the 80s, or he's playing PV Wolfgang that he's had since it was new. And and he does a little bit of tapping here and there, and so I forgot how much he did that. But you can hear it, and he can do that kind of Eddie swagger and stuff in there too. So a little more laid back, a little more Canadian. It's a more polite Eddie Van Halen, is what I'm saying. So Derry Green.
But yeah, I mean, because of the broad
Joe
spectrum.
Walsh. How could I forget Joe Walsh and Mike Campbell? Damn.
Yep. There's just the fact that I think a lot of us have such a broad spectrum of musical interests that it really is hard to kind of pin down.
We have to talk about blues players, jazz players, country players.
Yeah.
Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Damn, New Jersey.
Nobody plays phrases like
I
Willie.
love Gilmore, but I love Gilmore more as a songwriter. I never really got into his guitar as much. I like him for the overall sound texture on the song, but he plays phenomenally, and his solos, you can even sing them. I think he's phenomenal. I just personally never got into him when I was playing, but I like him more from a musician standpoint than as a guitar player.
Well, same thing as Bruce Springsteen. Everybody's like that. Well, he's not a super great guitar player, but he plays guitar, or
Look at Zach Thong, just keeping it real. Me and Guitar Hack.
There
Really, Zach? Sure. Okay.
There you go.
I was going to say too. Big influence because through the 90s, not playing in a band or anything, I was big time into doing like droning stuff. Playing with an octave pedal to just using a drum loop on a keyboard, a Casio, playing along to a drum loop on a Casio keyboard. What was Ian Thornley in Big Wreck back when Ian Thornley was still playing his double neck stuff. So he's playing a lot of 12-string droney 12-string stuff, and yeah. So Ian Thornley definitely would be up there too.
That guy impresses me that he can play guitar at such a high level while singing at even a higher level.
Yeah.
Like he's not playing easy parts underneath some. Like he's not just playing a chord and then singing a line. He's playing a line and then doing these moving chord things. I mean,
yeah.
You know.
And of course, RJ Ronquillo too. I love RJ's.
Yeah.
He normally reminds me of the Canadian version of Jeff Buckley because they're, both, Jeff Buckley had the same thing. Phenomenal guitar player, also phenomenal singer-songwriter.
I thought Ian Thornley, he was our Chris Cornell.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, very much. Yeah. Reminds me of him too, kind of. That's wild. Yeah.
Or even our Richie Kotzen.
Yeah. Every time I see him play too, it's just like, oh yeah, you don't hit a bad note, you just sound great. Like,
oh, of course, Gregory Cockery.
Yeah.
Cockery, yes.
That really is the one thing with YouTube. YouTube has brought out so many actually really good players, and it's not a matter of like amazing players. It's just really good players in varying types and varying levels.
Well, the thing I love about Greg Koch too is like that guy could teach guitar at a university. I don't think some people realize.
Oh yeah.
Colleges, you can YouTube, Google it or whatever, look on YouTube, and you can see him playing like straight ahead jazz tunes. Man, that guy's knowledge is deep.
Yeah.
Oh, and also a shout out to Scott McCullough from Rusty. Loved his playing too.
And the last question of the night.
All right. Yes.
By Robot Master Switch.
Our newest channel member. You can click the join button right down below and be cool like Robot Master Switch, because we had one of those things where we got a new channel member and then 2 channel members dropped off. I'm hoping it's just while they update their credit card info, but
yeah.
We'll break the 34 barrier for more than 3 hours, Terry. Honest.
It was tag team.
Yeah.
So the question is, weight relieved Les Paul versus the OG super heavy ones. Any tonal difference? Just got an LP Studio I mentioned, and it's crazy heavy. Never held a guitar this heavy.
Well, this goes back to my very first rant ever on this channel related to Gibson, I believe. For years, we heard, Tom, the Les Paul, it's 11 pounds for that tone.
Oh,
you have to break your shoulder and back because of tone.
It hurts to play good.
Yeah, because I think I said on last night's show, my original Les Paul was tail heavy. Like you used to push down. It was the opposite of neck dive.
Wow.
And it hurt to play after a while because it was so heavy. And that was the Norland era. It was even more, yeah. And, but that's a Les Paul to me. And then they're like, yes, the sustain because it's that solid mahogany with maple cap, blah, 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 marketing for half a fucking century. And they're like, now with weight relief, half the weight, all the same tone. I'm like, you just spent decades telling me I got to have a broken shoulder because of your 11 pounds of tone. And now you're telling me they can literally just gut it to the point where it's one of these, basically, who made no bones. They've always chambered them. Because Les Paul's basically chambered unless you get the traditional. So I put that right up, but I do prefer them non-weight relief, given the option. I think they do have more sustain when they're not weight relieved.
Pretty much the same thing.
It's the same reason I want a hardtail Strat and not just block the trem. It's not the same. You still got a big chunk of wood missing.
Gray Vanzini nailed it. Our religion involves much mythology.
That's true.
I'm at a loss for words. Vanzini, that's perfect. That's all you need to say.
Yeah, I'm like Lawrence. You want one in the high 9.9s?
You know what? See, I'm kind of like we're far enough into the show. I'll just say it this way. I'm a little bitch. I like my non-weight relieved, but they picked a light piece of wood, so it's 8/4 all finished. But
Yep.
Best of both worlds.
and
Yes.
people say, oh well, that's not cheap. No, not correct. My Les Paul Studio, which was very affordable at the time, and then when it was bought the second time, was still fairly affordable, under $1,000. But 90s Les Paul Studio, it weighs 8 pounds, 10 or 11 ounces. So
Yeah.
it's not weight relief. Now I don't think a binding weighs that much. So
Now, if you told me I have to play 4 sets a night every
that's
night,
a different story, right?
then I want the lightest. I'm going to take Tom's Les Paul, the lightest one they found, piece of wood, and
Right.
then I'm going to have them do the ultra modern weight relief.
It's
They
like
basically make
6.5
one of those.
pounds.
Yep.
Yeah, so it weighs less than a Strat.
You hit it, and
Yep.
you can hear it boom, boom, boom.
It's the only Les Paul with neck dive.
Yeah, right. I think the Les Paul was too light, though. I think.
Well, they did the Les Paul lights, and they are.
This Les Paul Studio Light. I played one the first time, and it
Yeah.
threw me
Didn't
off.
they even have an F hole in them? One of them had F holes too.
That was like the ES Les Paul,
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
S Paul, the S Les Paul.
Abomination.
But fret level midnight has a point. If it's too heavy, I find myself playing it less and less. I don't.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, he says he doesn't mind the weight. Doom as fuck. Okay. Yeah.
I don't play that Frankie all the time because I unfortunately tried to go authentic and got a heavy body. And
Right.
that was
Hey, Gary
stupid.
Davlin.
That was a stupid idea because it's heavy now.
But in the case of what Ben had just brought up about or what Tom brought up about the ES version of Les
Chris.
Paul, in
Right.
that instance, that guitar is actually chambered wings, so
Oh,
it's still
wow.
solid down the center, but the wings of it where the F holes are actually chambered.
So that's what makes it like a 335 or any of those ESs.
J708 prefers lightish guitars. As 91 Universe is super light. Also one of the best sounding resonant sustaining. Now I will say the lighter guitars are more resonant. They are definitely more resonant, which can affect tone as well. But give me the 12-pound Les Paul, Tom. But I'm going to have a telly to trade off. They'll be tagging in throughout the set. That's what I'm saying. Best of both, especially for recording. I want a heavy Les Paul.
Now I have
Hey,
to.
GTR 1952 or Guitar
I
1952.
have to agree with Jay about the resonance sustaining. So I'll probably take a lot of crap for this. I don't think the weight makes it sustain more. Just personally, I don't, because I have ultralight guitars that sustain way better than super heavy guitars. So I just, knock me all you want.
They will be, the heavier ones will be a little darker sounding, I think.
Yeah, I personally,
Yeah.
I don't hear that much difference once you throw a bunch of gain on it. Now, if you're playing like super clean, straight in, no effects like that, but once you put effects on it, once you add gain on it, once you in any way digitally process your signal, all bets are off, because all you need to do is change the EQ.
I'm going to agree to disagree. The audience can't tell the weight. Yes, because it'd be like, why is that Tom guy all slunched over by the fourth song? Because he's not playing a weight relief Les Paul.
Yeah, fret level midnight, exactly. That's why I say only my opinion, and your speed or your experience may vary. It's only my personal opinion. It's just what I like.
Well, Amanda, they do make those dual guitar straps for the sissies. It's like a whole rig harness
of a substantial, 8 to 9 pound Les Paul if I'm sitting down, but I don't think it sounds any better personally. I just don't.
Hey, there's BC Rich 581. Good to see you, my
He's been
friend.
around in and out,
Okay.
BC Rich. Just to add into
PVT 40 though, everything's relative. Yep.
yeah,
Those
just
some
to
heavy
add
guitars.
in further with that fact, it's also not so much weight; it's also your hardware that you're using.
I think it's more the hardware than anything. I personally do.
Sure.
Like a hard steel trim system, whatever type, will give you sustain more than something that's made with shitty steel.
Well, I mean, let's look at the physics. Let's not to piss anyone off, but let's just look at science. if you have a fixed point and a fixed point,
Yes.
break the best between them. You need a solid thing that's going to hold that string at both ends, not let it go. And also, you can't have some cheap pop metal that's going to do this. And like, if you put a microscope on a piece of shitty metal, you can see the little divots. You can see everything. You need a solid point that's enough mass that it can vibrate between it. You don't want this piece to vibrate. You want that to be like a post in the earth. That's why a heavy bridge will be better, not because that's going to vibrate. People are like, oh, they think they want a heavy bridge to vibrate more. No, that's staying stable. This is what's vibrating between that string. Whatever else is after that bridge, I'm sorry, but I don't personally think it makes a lot of difference to the sound once you start processing the guitar.
Yeah, Johan.
Now, an acoustic or a semi-acoustic thing like an ES, hollow body or acoustic guitar that's amplified, hell yeah, it makes a difference.
Right.
The acoustic sound.
I want to wrap up on this one. Zach Thon brings up a good point. The nut slots on Les Paul should be angled. The nut slots on a Les Paul should be like a fan fret.
Yeah.
Because they should all be just at some point relative between there and towards the string.
Well, that's probably what he means.
Yeah, I think, it should be fanned out. Yeah. Terry, think yes or no?
I agree.
Okay. Tom, yes or no?
I'm not positive I tend to agree, but I do like the string butler solution like Ardens.
That's the other option.
I bought 2 of those to try on mine like 2 years ago before he even did that video. But I'm lazy and I have never put one of the 2 on yet. So I'm going to plan to do it soon. But I like that it pulls it through straight and then it fans out.
On rollers no less too.
Right. If you're not going to do that, I think you need to get some sort of angle happening. Otherwise, you got a break angle that just puts your G string out of tune every time you try and pull it down.
Well, there we are.
I mean,
on that note, we've gone way over tonight. Way over.
Hey, 2 nights in a row for you, Ben.
Yeah, I know. I got stuff I got to do after this.
Take the G string off; it works much better.
Any parting words, Tom?
I had a parting word and then I forgot. Oh, I was going to mention something someone said in that.
All right, we'll come back to you, Terry. Any parting words before we
be
come
mindful of your health and what's possibly could happen to you. I actually finally got my shoulder looked at today, and I found out that I've had a pulled muscle right here in my shoulder for like the last year since I pulled it back when I did the taking down the flooring here in this living room.
Well, yes. Good. Yeah, exactly. Love it. Thanks, Symmetry. Tom, parting words.
I remembered what I was going to say.
Yay, because it's your turn.
Well, they were talking about the woods, and I saw that's what I was going to mention. I think Jay has another episode coming up this week with Boner Jams.
Yes.
So check Boner Jams and Jay out this Wednesday. Ben, do you know the time? I don't remember the time, but
I think 8 p.m. Eastern.
They're both good dudes, and they do a really good show. So check them out this week, and they both kill on the really fast.
They're good, and they know how to use those wiggle sticks too.
Yeah, and I can't. They know those extra strings that I don't know.
I have coming out this week a video involving that Gretsch. I didn't forget Charles. I think it was Charles. It was. I have to double check. I'll double check the super chat. I think it was Charles that did the super chat to sponsor it. Other than that, maybe we'll do a pedal demo. That'd be nice.
Nice.
I don't know what we'll do it on, but we'll figure that out because I've got a few laying about. Oh, 9 p.m. Eastern, Jay says.
But Amanda says 8 p.m. Eastern.
Well, yeah, but Jay's on the show, so I'm going to go with Jay. But I don't like disagreeing with stuff. You know what? Tune in at 8:30 p.m. Wednesday.
Yeah, you got to be in the chat ahead of time.
You're either going to be half an hour early or half an hour late.
Amanda
tune in at 7:59 or 8:59.
There we go. 8 cleared up. For now, it's 9 p.m.
You pop in for a minute, 7:59. You leave a comment, then you come back at 8:59.
There we are. So on that note,
cool.
That's Terry. That's Tom. This has been Canucks Guitars. If you're watching on replay and do have a question, surprise me and actually leave a comment. Well, actually, surprise me and leave a question. People leave usually 1 or 2 comments a week, but leave a question. Why don't you? If you're watching on replay, that is. If you're watching live, you missed your opportunity. So tune in next week with that question, and then that'll be your opportunity again. See, that's how it works. So on that note, hold those doors open. Let that lady in heady in traffic do good things, and good things will happen to you. Why? Because Doug's wife is definitely real. I'm Ben. That's Terry. That's Tom. Don't litter. I hate litter bugs. Don't litter.
Up the road, there's just crap everywhere.
If I see a littering, Eddie Van Haskell's going to throw a rotten head of lettuce right at your ankle.
I love the one where they just throw it back in the person's car. That's my favorite.
Yeah, but if you don't want rotten produce thrown at you by Eddie Van Haskell, don't litter.